Hi, Steve Adubato here. This is Lessons in Leadership with my colleague, Mary Gamba, who is the executive producer and the co-anchor. How are we doing, Mary?
I'm doing great today, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, we're going to have our great friend, Robb Sansone from Fedway joining us in just a minute. But I want to do something. We acknowledge different people on the team because, and actually Robb's a big Yankee fan, as I am. It's a team game. These are two people. Can you zoom in on this? This is Scarlin, who's our camera operator here. And also April here, who is our makeup artist. You got that? April, you see? April asked if I could show her picture. No, I'm only joking. She did not. She didn't want the attention. But in all seriousness, I want to make sure we acknowledge every team member. Also, Sylvester, who edits everything, will be joining us on another show as well. Right, Mary?
Yeah, he's actually joining us on the back end of this show. So it's actually very perfect that you just brought up his name right then.
It's a team game. Thank you so much, April. See you later. She makes all the... Robb Sansone, you wonder sometimes how all this happens at this point after 30 years in the business. It's people like April and also a surgeon I will not talk about on the air. They make it happen. Robb's wondering, what show am I on? Is he being serious right now? Mary, could you introduce Robb Sansone?
I would love to. Robb has a brand new title, hot off the press, and we'll have Robb talk about that a little bit. Robb Sansone, CEO, Fedway Capital Management. Robb, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, good morning, Mary. Good morning, Steve.
Robb, 30 seconds. Why a hardcore Yankee fan?
Look, it's the history, it's the tradition, you root for the uniform, right? You grow up in this area and you follow a team for that many years. And the fact of the matter is, they get it right. They create an environment that you want to be part of. And much like you do in your corporate environment, you want to have people that are proud to put the pinstripes on and show up to work every day and be part of a team. You always hear people play for the Yankees say that when they get there and put those pinstripes on, right, elevates their game, makes them a little bit prouder. We like to think we do the same thing here at Fedway.
Good stuff. Mary, before you jump in, description of Fedway.
Fedway, of course, as you know it, is our wine and spirits distribution company in New Jersey, operating exclusively in the state of New Jersey, delivering wine and spirits throughout the Garden State. Been in business since the repeal of Prohibition, under current ownership for a little over the last 40 years. I'm proud to say that in my tenure with the company, which has been almost 39 years, gone from about $80 million in sales to a little over $1 billion these last couple of years.
Absolutely. And as Mary jumps in, Mary and I are proud at Stand and Deliver, our company, also our production company, but the leadership and development company that we have. We are actually working with Fedway on the Fedway Leadership Academy with some extraordinary leaders and managers within the organization. And Robb has been a key to making that happen. Go ahead, Mary, all yours.
Yeah, definitely. So Robb, you and I had talked a little bit offline just about your new title and really what that means to be the CEO of Fedway Capital Management, because it is more than just a liquor, as you said, as Steve and I know you as a liquor distribution company. Talk a little bit about what Fedway Capital Management is.
Well, as you know, structure evolves organically over time. So in the time I've been here, we're a privately held company, and we have opportunities to expand the business into different areas. One, for example, is a trucking company that we started with just a handful of trucks that now operates in markets across the country, in Savannah, in Houston, in LA, in Charleston. So we've watched that company grow. We have a real estate development entity that does both ownership of real estate here in New Jersey and developable real estate in different areas around the country. In particular, right now, we're doing a large industrial development down in the Port of Savannah. We have private equity as a piece of the portfolio. And again, it's something that over a period of time has evolved that you want to formally acknowledge and create a structure for. And that's the reason for the creation of Fedway Capital Management and the new structural part of the organization.
Robb, back to the question on leadership. I mentioned the Fedway Leadership Academy that we're working together on with Stand and Deliver, our company. You and Max and John are there, right? You're right there with the other leaders who are the leaders of the company. Help everyone understand why a Fedway Leadership Academy, devil's advocate, even though we're thrilled because it's in business with us, leaders just develop on their own. Come on, they just do their job and they get better at it over time, right, Robb? Doesn't it just happen that way?
Look, I think that you know our philosophy here is that it's an approach of making all the people around us better. Right? We talked about the concept of teamwork before, and you're really not doing your job unless you're providing the resources to make those people around you perform at the highest level possible. So we identify people within the organization. You're doing the first of what we hope will be many leadership academies that are going to acknowledge people within the organization that we want to have be part of a learning environment where they can be enabled to understand some of the communication skills and some of the things that are so powerful that will help them improve their careers and, of course, contribute value to the company. You know that here we have a corporate culture that we're very proud of. And we like to think that that corporate culture is a sustainable competitive advantage over time. So we're building that. If you can sustain that advantage by creating a great culture in your organization, that stands the test of time.
Yeah, and Mary, as you jump back in, you know what's interesting? Some people say, listen, it's just the way it is. This is who I am. These are my skills. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. That's it. Mary, not true, because as we've seen in the Fedway Leadership Academy, we've seen people, because we have them do a 3-minute presentation about some innovation at Fedway, some improvements, some change, and then a very tough, quote, Q&A, where you see national leaders of corporations and government and other places just fall apart. But at Fedway, we press them hard. Question, Mary, as we set this up, you've seen leaders develop and grow. That's not the same, right, Mary? Who you are and what you can be, not the same, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Steve and I have worked together now for over 2 decades, and who I was when I started and who I am today, and the same in the Leadership Academy. We get to see people come in that are resistant to change, that say, not me, I'm not going to be out there presenting. And then by the end of the 9 months, 12 month time, they literally are looking forward to that opportunity to get up, to stand up, and to get engaged. And, talk a little bit about that, Rob, in terms of getting your team to be vulnerable, getting your team to take risks. You talk about the culture of Fedway. How do you let your team know that it's a safe space and you do want them to step up and lead and be vulnerable?
Well, look, Steve said it before with baseball being a great analogy. You fail a lot of times, yet you keep coming back because it's your attitude, it's your approach, it's your desire to contribute. And it may not be with a great at-bat, it may be with a defensive play the next inning. So there's opportunities that exist beyond the instant circumstance. We want our people to be able to feel uncomfortable. We always say pressure is a privilege. You put yourself in those situations, right? Because it's important to have the opportunity, and you should recognize, embrace that. And you're not always going to succeed, and you're not always going to make the right decision, but there's a team of people here around you that will help you recenter that and move it in a direction that's positive. So we're very big on making people get out of their comfort zones and push them to achieve and get them to that higher level, and share with them that, look, we're all doing this together. We're stewards of this chapter in the history of the company. And we're trying to write it in a way that is making it a better place so that when it's handed off to the next generation of leadership and employees, that the foundation is strong.
As we say goodbye to Rob for now, one of the things about leadership, Mary and I are going to include in our leadership library a great book called Grit, G-R-I-T. I mean, talk about Fedway. Fedway, there's a history behind this. You look at the Fedway website, which Sylvester will put up. After Hurricane Sandy, devastation, fair to say, in the warehouse, and right? Coming back from that, the team coming together. Is grit the right word for that, Robb Sansone?
Well, yes, resilience. I'll give you a quote from the late, great Jim Valvano, a lot of sports.
Jimmy V.
Yeah, but you'll remember this one because he had said it and attributed it many times. He said, God must love ordinary people because he made so many of us. But every day, ordinary people are capable of doing extraordinary things. And that's the beauty of it, right? So we're a collection of ordinary people. And when you bring out the best and when you give people an environment to succeed, they can do extraordinary things every day. So that's a very powerful message. And Hurricane Sandy was an absolute testament to the resilience, to the grit, to the determination. It was a near knockout blow for our company. And we could easily have closed the doors as a result of the devastation. Almost $100 million insurance loss, if you can imagine the amount of resources that were destroyed in the hurricane. And I'll remember Richard Leventhal, our chairman and principal owner, saying at the time to his family, you know what, I bought Fedway once, I'm prepared to buy it again. And he put in his own money to sustain payroll and to give people an opportunity to bridge the period of time when we were literally out of business for over 2 weeks of time. So you look back on that and say nobody should ever experience that type of circumstance, but everybody should because of the reward that's achieved.
As we finish this up, the other quote from the great Jim Valvano, the late, great Jim Valvano. Check out not only our website, but also his ESPY speech. The other great quote that is so appropriate as Rob shared that story about Fedway's comeback after Hurricane Sandy is Jimmy Valvano said, don't give up, don't ever give up. And it sounds so simple, but it is so appropriate, particularly when you're talking about lessons in leadership. Robb Sansone, our friend, our partner, the great team at Fedway. Cannot thank you enough, Rob. Thanks, buddy.
It's our pleasure. Mary, thank you. Steve, thank you.
You got it. Go Yankees. We'll be right back after this. This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the BUCCINO Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, KESSLER Foundation, Veolia, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague, Mary Gamba, has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA, and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ, and Commerce Magazine.
Most people don't think about where their water comes from, but we do. Veolia, more than water, resourcing the world.
Welcome back to the greatest show you will find anywhere on any platform about leadership, lessons in leadership. Steve Adubato, Mary Gamba. Mary, we're going to introduce more and more. We're going to introduce members of our team behind the scenes. We had Frank Brown, another segment, our audio engineer, talking about the great work he's doing on some other initiative. But introduce Sylvester, who frankly makes this show look so good after we produce it and direct it. Elvin directs it. Introduce Sylvester and let's get into a conversation about teamwork.
Yeah, definitely. So it's my honor to introduce Sylvester Lukasiewicz, editor of SPL Films, who makes us each look about 20 years younger, I would like to say, Sylvester. So thank you for the magic that you're doing behind the scenes, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Sylvester, let me ask you, we did a segment with one of our good friends, Larry Downs, who always says everyone is a leader, everyone, and not titles about who's a CEO, who's this, who's that. You are a leader in your field and in what you do, but what does that really mean to you to be a leader?
Well, I'm honored. First of all, thank you for having me on again, and honored to have a really good team. I look at leadership as a team. In this instance, it's really a village that takes leadership, and I think everyone is responsible for different things in what they are hired and responsible for. But I think being a really good leader is being open to input from others, whether it's other leaders or people who you lead. So being a good listener and being a good leader in that sense, that it's always a two-way communication. It's never one way.
And speaking about let's do this, Elvin, who I don't know how he directs the show, but I'm also asking him to join us because we would not know of Sylvester if it were not for Elvin, our director. Can Elvin actually come onto the shot right now? I don't even know how they do this.
That's our trick. That's our bag of tricks.
I don't even want to know how it gets made. Elvin, you there, buddy?
Yes, I'm here.
Let me ask you this. When we were starting Lessons in Leadership, there's a reason for this, trust me, because Sylvester's talking about teamwork, real teamwork, and the great team. Scarlett is here behind this camera. We actually started this show with a picture of April, our makeup artist, and Scarlett, who are here. And you got Frank Brown on the audio side. You got Elvin, Sylvester, and you got Amy on closed caption. We would not have Sylvester if it were not for you. So here's my question about leadership, Elvin. You brought us to Sylvester as the lead editor to make this thing happen. what is the connection between having great relationships and excellent leadership?
So the connection is, I always have to tell the story of Frank Brown, who's my mentor, told me that you may know good people, but you don't always put everyone you know on to work for you or to work with you just because you know them. I brought Sylvester on because he's a great editor and we worked together before I brought him to you. I want to say for 15 years, Sylvester and I we worked together. And he's never let me down. He's always been a great person outside of work and inside of work. And he's always going to go the extra mile for you to do whatever it is that you need him to do.
We actually started working together, but we have also graduated from the same school. We have alma mater that we went to together, and we actually knew people that we had in common. And so it's almost like a relationship that you have and you carry on. And I'll just go back to that village thing. Even if you move out of the village, you carry these things with you and the relationships, just like you said, Steve.
Yeah. Hey, Mary, what's it been like for you? Because there's so much that goes on. I don't even want to say behind the scenes. All I know is it's another way of saying what Steve doesn't know about.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I really don't. This is, everyone has their own. My role is to front the show with Mary and also try to bring in enough sponsorship to keep things going. But Mary runs, she's the president of Stand and Deliver. She makes it happen. So she interacts with the team in a way that I don't. Mary, what's it like working with these guys?
It's fantastic. And it's so funny when we started this partnership with Elvin and Frank and Sylvester and Scarlett and the rest of the team, to say it's an understatement that everyone has everyone's backs. We're all there with the best interest in mind of the show, of one another as human beings, and that's so important. And Sylvester, one thing that I did want to ask you, it's so funny, like you don't just take direction, you literally come to me and say, Mary, I have this idea of a new intro for the show. What do you think? Or you go above and beyond. When I know that you love history, you're a history buff. And when we have programs on with our great friend, Rick Thigpen, CIANJ, when we have him on, you just find these great photos and you put in your all. Where did that passion come from? In other words, your ability to just jump in and lead without having somebody to say, hey, why don't you step up your game? Where did that come from?
I think it's something that Elvin already said. It's surrounding yourself with people who are open to input, but also are good leaders. So if I hear, okay, Steve will have someone, I told you, Mary, to bring back Rick for another long form, right? Because it's so exciting to see new things. It's like a new chemistry thing that no one has explored, no one has invented. So if I see someone who is willing to take a hint or a little tip, even just, answer this question for me, and the way they answer, the way they engage, that's what makes things work. You really have to be open. You cannot always be at the podium and at the main mic and say, here I am, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. But it's just like theater. Actors live off, they feed off the audience, right? Everyone's an equal participant in that art. And that's art also, because you can be technically, a speaker and do all kinds of professional speaking, but you also have to have warmth. You have to have that connection with either the experience, the source of the information you're talking about. I surround myself, this is my, expert bedroom turned into edit room. I surround myself with books, with photo albums that inspire me. Whenever I have a moment, I have Steve's book. Don't tell Steve.
What do you hold on 1 second. We sent it to you. Now you're hiding it?
Hold on, Steve. You sent him a book?
I'm not hiding.
Man.
I'm not hiding it.
Oh man.
Hold on. Where is it? 1 second. One thing at a time.
It's right here.
Frank, do you have a book, Frank?
Oh, wait a minute. Time out.
Wow.
Mary, you sent Sylvester lesson. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. This book came out in 2016. Oh my God. Sylvester, hold yours up. Mary, you got yours right there?
I do.
Hey, Frank, hold yours up.
Wait a minute. Are you serious right now? Mary,
Right, Frank? I don't know. I don't know.
Mary, hold on 1 second. You leave no stone unturned, no detail too small. Elvin, who I'm kissing his butt because he brought everyone together, doesn't even have a lessons in leadership book.
It will be there within the next 48 hours. So
What about
don't
Frank?
worry.
I always need you to remember, Steve, because I always give credit where credit is due. There
Tell
will be
him
no
again.
Elvin without Frank, because Frank introduced me to you. So that's where it all begins.
Thank you, Elvin. Thank you,
I will
brother.
always give credit where credit is due.
Well, hold on. Where does Scarlett come from?
Scarlett came from me.
Elvin.
So Scarlett comes from Elvin, who comes from Frank, who's known me for Sylvester, and Mary and I 21 years ago, 22 years. Okay, I got this. Mary, she's writing it down. If you don't send books today,
I put it on my list.
we wouldn't be here if it weren't for those two guys. So Mary, let's get this right. Elvin, I'm gonna give you the last word on this. Question. Yes, it's trust. Yes, it's family. It's family, but it's work. We get that, but we're there for each other. Question. How important is it to be open to other perspectives and ways of doing things as opposed to I'm the boss, I'm the leader, let's do it I'm just hurt my hand, I'm sorry. Elvin, got to be open, right?
You have to be open. I'll let you know. I don't know everything. I will always take, someone can always come to me and say, hey, maybe try it this way, maybe try it that way. We were trying to get a Zoom set up earlier this morning and we just couldn't get it. And Mary reminded me, hey, why don't we try the phone? Let's try to bring the guest in on the phone. I will never not take suggestions from people because I don't know everything. And sometimes, under pressure, you may forget certain things. So always take advice from people.
And on that point, remember one day some cable, Scarlett, right? Some cable, somebody cut a cable outside and this entire production, Sylvester, it was crazy. And I don't know, Scarlett said, why don't we do this, do that? Elvin, why don't we? And somehow they figured it out and I wasn't even involved. So Larry Downs is right. Everyone, if you have a great team, everyone's a leader. Because if you're waiting to be told what to do, you don't have a great team. Sylvester, thank you. Elvin, thank you. The Godfather who brought us all together, the Frank Brown, thank you. He didn't have to come on camera then. Scarlett, thank you. Thank you. It's all good. We have a great team. Mary and I will finish up the show. We have any more time left, Elvin?
We sure do.
Maybe
we
a couple
don't.
seconds. No, you have time. We're at 11 minutes now, 11 minutes.
You know what, by the way, while this was all going on, Elvin Badger was sending in the chat room different cues about time. Talk about multitasking. It's another subject. What a great team. Be right back after this. Thank you. This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the BUCCINO Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, KESSLER Foundation, Veolia, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Welcome back to Lessons in Leadership. Steve Adubato, Mary Gamba. We just had a love fest, Mary, with our team. We had it blocked out that way, but we didn't really know how it was going to play out. What's that like for you?
I love it. The organic nature, and it comes over time. You talked about relationships, you talked about collaboration. Sylvester talked about it being a village, and it truly is being a village. And one of the most important things that I took away from that segment was just the ability to be open to feedback to one another. Last night you had sent a text about something that, Sylvester, our editor, and I, we missed something in, one of our, where we put the little thing on the bottom of the screen. And we immediately hopped into action mode. We didn't get defensive. I immediately apologized. I said, yes, Steve, you're absolutely right. And we put a plan in place now where, of course, you can't always avoid mistakes from happening, but you can definitely increase your batting average. And just, it's a credit to Sylvester and Elvin and Frank. We can't say it enough that having a team that's there to say, okay, Steve, or whomever, to one another, how are we going to get through this? It's about the attitude, positive attitude, and working together as a team. And I can't thank our team enough, led by you.
By the way, thank you. But also, Scarlett was saying you didn't mention me, so I could see. All right, I see it over. Don't worry about it. Don't just relax. Scarlett behind the camera. Mary, I want to do something real quick. We just had this again love fest with a terrific team that makes Lessons in Leadership happen, and I've always said this. It's a highlight of so many. There's so many aspects of my work that I love, but I genuinely appreciate this, and a lot of it has to do with working with Mary and the team. But got a couple minutes left, but I'm going to open this Pandora's box. We'll talk about it on another show. We've experienced some other folks on the other side, on the Caucus Educational Corporation, our not-for-profit side. We've lost some talented people, really talented people. And we asked other people, hey, is it us? I think we asked Linda McHugh from Hackensack Meridian Health, is it us? And sometimes, I mean, I'm sure that there are mistakes I make, or people say, I don't want to work with Steve anymore, whatever it is. It's not Mary, I can tell you that. Here's the point. How the heck do we stay positive when we do lose some people? We lost Laura Van Bloom, who's fabulous, our marketing vice president, but Linda Toro comes on as a super terrific, talented person, literally her first day today. How do we balance, oh my God, we lost the talent. We're losing Michaela, who's going over to CNBC, a great producer, recruiting someone else. Here's the point, trust me, Mary. How do we stay balanced between, oh my God, we've just lost a great person, but look at the great team we have. It's yin and yang, it's peaks and valleys, no?
It sure is. And it's all about perspective. And I have to admit, I was the first one, and I'm pretty steady when things go wrong. And I definitely was rocked a little bit. And I reminded myself of really just how great our team is. And just because someone's leaving for a different position that's a better fit for them at that point in their lives doesn't make us any less than, doesn't make this the work that we do any less than. And you need to dive in, to dig in, to lean in, and really just embrace. And Linda, as you brought up, Linda McHugh as well, she had talked about this, letting your team know you appreciate them, listening to them, finding out what their needs are. And it's just that opportunity, you know, and I know they talk about the last 2 years and the great resignation, and people are leaving to try different things. So instead of resisting it, you need to embrace it, see it as an opportunity to bring in new people. As you said, we just brought in Linda Toro. We're going to be bringing in another talented producer. So it's just about perspective and really just keeping an eye on the present. And that's it. And a lot of meditation and a little bit of wine, definitely.
A little bit of wine. But I'm going to say this, Mary, again, we're taping right after the Super Bowl. This will be seen later. And I don't want to turn this into a sports show, even though my dream at some point is to do just a sports show. I love talking sports.
I did not know that about you, Steve. Unfortunately, I cannot. Want to know Bill Gamba, my husband, would be the best for you on that. He knows everything and anything about sports.
Bill would be awesome. The two Gambas working on our team to be another co-anchor. But 60 seconds less. Trust me, there's a reason I'm saying this. The Los Angeles Rams, who just won the Super Bowl, I was rooting for the Bengals. I'm a big fan of the Bengals, but because the Giants are horrible. But that being said, you ready? The Rams put together a team that some people came on in the middle of the season. Some people were never with them before. All these people came in at different times. Mary, I know we want stability. I know we want to have the same team, but things happen. And we got to keep bringing new people in and still try to keep that stability, but know that change is a constant. 30 seconds, go.
Yeah, definitely. And you hit it on the head. You do need to be the anchor, if you will, of that team. You got to remember that the organization is still the same great organization. Stay focused on your mission, stay focused on your vision, and just constantly make sure that you are thanking your team and thanking the people around you. And that's what we're going to continue to do every day.
Well said, Mary Gamba. And even though some people go, and by the way, Laura Van Bloom headed over to Eva's Village, a great organization doing great things. We'll put up their website as well. Finally, if Mary leaves, I'm tapping out. I just want to go on record as saying you can survive some things. Others, I'm like, all right, I'm done.
You're stuck with me, Steve. You're stuck with me. I'm not going anywhere.
You heard it first, and it's on camera. And don't edit that out, Sylvester, please. Lessons in Leadership. Steve, Mary, we'll see you next time. That's it. This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the BUCCINO Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, KESSLER Foundation, Veolia, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague, Mary Gamba, has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA, and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ, and Commerce Magazine.
Most people don't think about where their water comes from, but we do. Veolia, more than water, resourcing the world.